There's heroes and legends. Heroes live forever, but legends never die. And if you want to be a legend, you'll follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SeenItPod. You'll like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify and leave us a 5-star review. The Sandlot, coming up next. Haven't Seen It with Tim Sestito and Tommy Tavenet. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Thank you all so much for listening today. This is a podcast where at least one of us is watching a movie for the very first time, and today, that person is Tommy. He had never seen The Sandlot before. How you
Nope.
feeling, Tommy?
So I watched a decent movie. It was a fun coming of age movie. I never was a baseball kid, so that's why I never saw this movie. I was the kid in Little League that my highlight of Little League was searching for a four-leaf clover in the outfield, and I found one that day. And it was the highlight of my athletic career. So that says a lot about me.
Yeah, I my contact picture for Tommy in my phone, I can't even find like the hard copy of this photo anymore because it's just been removed from the earth, but I put it in there in like high school or something like that. And it's just a picture of Tommy. It's probably the only picture that exists that Tommy did play JV football in 7th grade or whatever. And it's just a picture of Tommy in a football helmet. That's that'll forever and always be my contact picture for you, Tommy.
And it was before I was wearing contacts, so I was completely blind when I was playing football, and I just didn't know what the fuck was going on.
That's very helpful in football too, not being able to see. That usually helps. Although I feel like you would have been like a lineman. Like you could
I was a lineman,
you could
so
see,
I could just push what's in front of me.
You could see the people coming. But I think it's interesting because this is one of those movies that when I was a kid, it lived in my VHS player. I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if my VHS copy of this movie just didn't work because it was overplayed. Like that's how many times I have seen.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching, like I haven't watched this movie. Actually, I think I watched it a couple of years ago. Like maybe 2018, I watched it one night casually, but I don't think I've ever really like watched it like since I was a kid. But I'm gonna be interested to hear your takes because I think this is an interesting movie to get the perspective from somebody who wasn't a child that saw this movie, because it is such a kid movie, you know.
I feel like you're gonna like this movie and defend this movie the way that I defend Space Jam. Now, Space Jam's a worse movie than this, I'd say, probably
by a mile. This is a cohesive story, Tommy.
Because of my nostalgia, though, I would rather watch Space Jam over and over again, just because I remember being a kid watching that movie. Whereas I don't really have that for this movie. I still liked it, but yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a good time to just dive. Like, I can still watch Space Jam. Like, I just think it's a bad. Yeah. I just think it's a bad movie. Like, without question.
I think the game scenes are funny and they still hold up. And sometimes I like during that quarantine when the NBA first shut down, like the week when like pretty much all things were going hell breaking loose. I saw the NBA was canceled and I was like, I gotta watch Space Jam, and I immediately switched to the fucking game scene because I was like, I gotta watch this again. I need basketball.
Maybe it's because like I grew up watching Looney Tunes at the time. That I wish that the Looney Tunes part of Space Jam was better, because it just felt like the writers on Space Jam were vaguely familiar with the characters of Looney Tunes, but like didn't actually dive into the cartoons to see what made them special. And I just think it's because it's like a generic plot, but it's a kid's movie. That's fine. I just feel like the best part until the big game is like the scene where Michael Jordan's just playing basketball to fly like an eagle. Like that's the best scene in the movie. It's just a Michael Jordan highlight reel.
Yeah, no, or that or like the Come On and Slam, the opening credits, where it's just a montage of Jordan dunking on people over and over.
Well, that song slaps, but this is not a podcast on Space Jam.
Unfortunately.
If we ever find somebody who has never seen that movie, maybe we'll cover it. But I don't know anybody who hasn't seen that movie.
DM us if you want to be on the show and you want to talk about Space Jam. So I can just gush about my childhood.
Yeah, don't do that, please, please, for the love of God, don't. Anyway,
We're talking about Sandlot.
this is the Sandlot.
I want you to make some friends this summer.
They were 9 great kids having one great summer. They'll become friends.
Just stand there and stick your glove out in the air. I'll take care of it.
They'll become a team.
Oh, yeah, all right.
And one of them,
You're the best.
will become a legend. 2 thumbs up say Siskel and Ebert. The Sandlot, rated PG. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
In the summer of 1962, a new kid in town is taken under the wing of a young baseball prodigy and his rowdy team, resulting in many adventures. So I think for me, rewatching this movie, nothing happens the first 50 minutes of this movie. Not in a good way, not in a bad way, just in.
It's very much a hangout movie in the first like third of it, at least, where
it's about a kid trying to make friends and he meets them, and that's the story they go through. I think this movie, what it nails and why I think it holds up, why when you're doing research for this movie, there's a 25th anniversary for this movie, like a reunion with all the guys. Like I think they cleaned up the field where the Sandlot was filmed, and they filmed it on set because I think it was filmed in Utah or something like that.
Yeah, the movie takes place in the suburbs of Los Angeles, but
I think it was filmed in Utah from what I remember, because I remember watching that when it came out, but I didn't watch it for this because I don't find those things particularly that interesting, because I could just watch the movie. I don't need to hear people talk about the movie 25 years later. I'm
the exact opposite. Literally, like speaking of last week when we covered Josie, I just got the vinyl for that, and they had an oral history of the soundtrack. I just read that for about 30 minutes. I can just go deep dives. Like most of the books I read now are just oral histories of movies I love.
At least you're reading, Tommy. That's what's important.
Exactly.
I think the Sandlot just hits the nail on the head of the kid, like the summer vacation, like that break, just running around with your friends. I think it just hits the nail on the head, and I think it captures it so purely. And I love that, like the big plot of it, like, yes, using a Babe Ruth baseball is stupid, and it's it's stupid, it's dumb, like, and doing that is one of the dumbest things a human could possibly do. But I will say, they did, like, the whole, like, the plot, like where it goes, like the real conflict of the movie, it feels so tangible, where I feel like a lot of times with like kids adventure movies, they kind of never feel that realistic. It's always kind of like fantasy.
It goes to some weird like high fantasy type of situation where it's just like, oh, there's a wizard involved,
or like the Goonies, where it's just such an adventure. Like, I've never seen the Goonies, but like I've heard it's one of those movies, if you saw it as a kid, you love it. If you didn't see it as a kid, you're probably not going to like it, because I've heard it captures the essence of being a kid, but I think it's such an unrealistic setting for a kid. I think this one resonates with a lot of people our age.
This in a lot of ways reminded me of some coming of age movies, or even like like the Stephen King novel, minus the clown stuff.
And the rape scene.
It is just
wait. Actually, there's not rape in this movie, but I mean, we got to talk about maybe the most iconic scene from this movie. It's a Forever Halloween couple's costume, Wendy Peffercorn and Squints, where he goes for it, man.
Yeah, he for people who haven't seen the movie or watching, basically what happens is Squints is this nerdy little kid with glasses that plays baseball, and he's obsessed with this lifeguard, and basically just fakes drowning so the lifeguard could give her CPR, and he goes in for a huge kiss.
Tommy, I just want to let you know, you're the last person on earth to see this movie. Everybody else has had this movie on VHS in the 90s.
Hey, I don't think everyone's a 90s baby.
I think this movie's kind of timeless, because it's just that, like, it's that Like I didn't even realize it,
To be
it
fair,
was 1960s. It just felt like, yes, it was a simpler time, and this is what kids did in a simpler time. And I think any child of any age can kind of relate to that. Just
it's very timeless in that sense that like very much like I was saying it earlier, where it's just like a coming of age story in the 60s and like or late 50s, where none of the outfits seem extremely outdated, well, for what the kids are wearing at least, compared to the adults at least, and just kind of seems this is just kids hanging out in the summer. And, kids are probably doing the same thing right now.
I think you can transplant baseball with any, like even something modern like kids that just play video games all the time. Like I think you can take this experience and put it in a basement and you can make a similar movie. Like he opened his dad's rare copy of Mario on the NES that was in the box to play it to impress his new friends. Like I just think the idea of doing something wrong and taking something really valuable to try to solidify yourself in a friend group where they're accepting you but you still feel kind of foreign there is something that a lot of kids can relate to. And I just think like this is where I think this movie like shines. Like I think the humor,
it's good. I mean, the movie in general, I mean, my one thing about the movie is that it plays a lot of the familiar beats that we've seen in a lot of these coming of age stories, but those beats are good for a reason, and this is a good adaptation of those beats.
yeah. Well, I think part of what I like about it is that it's small. Like I just feel like a lot of time these coming of age, they're always a little bigger, or they're coming of age where it's in high school and it's about the girls and it's about the and anything else, it's always a little bigger. It's either going into fantasy when it's kids roughly 10, usually like they open a bridge to somewhere. It's Harry Potter, right? He's going to this mystical thing. It's like, no, this is in your backyard. If you live in America, this is in your town somewhere. You can find this on your bicycle. And I think one of the things I like is that Benny the Jets Rodriguez is kind. I think a lot of times you don't get like the big guy, right? Like he's the boss of that crew. He's just genuinely kind. Like he invites Smalls in to the group when he knows he can't play baseball and just teaches him, like,
which is so funny because like Smalls apparently like knew how to play baseball, like the actor who played him, and he had to learn how to pretend like he didn't know how to throw. And he was like saying like, "Oh, my little league coach must have been so disappointed." So it's funny at the beginning of the movie where they all see this kid and like, who the fuck is this little like wimp that can't throw a baseball? Like, what's going on here?
Also, I like that there's a couple shits thrown in there too in the movie, like actual, like the word shit thrown in.
Kids cursing is always great, especially in that little scene where they're throwing insults at each other.
I think it's funny too when you think about it. It's like Squints had to pretend he didn't know how to play baseball, and the kid Mitch in Dazed and Confused,
not Squints,
Smalls, sorry, and the kid who played Mitch in Dazed and Confused had never thrown a baseball before, and he had to simulate pitching. And from what I've read about that, it was like hell trying to get this kid to look somewhat convincing as a pitcher, because he doesn't look convincing in Dazed and Confused at all.
I think it's better. It's easier to pretend like you don't know how to throw than it is to pretend like you.
Oh, for sure, especially pitching. Like I think anybody can kind of mock the throwing motion, but pitching is very particular. It's all arm slot, and there's just like an athletic force that comes with it. Like I am a big baseball fan. I'm a big Mets fan. If you're not familiar with me all that well, the reason I picked this movie is because on Thursday, which is today, which hopefully you're listening, is in theory baseball's opening day. There's going to be a lot of weather issues, so I don't know what's actually going to happen. No, to be honest,
just rainstorms all weekend. Just like fucking baseball's canceled again for the weekend.
Yeah. Well, listen. I could do a 2-hour podcast on the state of baseball right now, and it's not positive.
Timmy's spinoff.
Let's get away from that. Don't tempt me with a good time, Tommy. God damn it! I'll drag you on here, and I'll talk to you about baseball, and you'll just go, yeah, the entire time.
It'll just be Timmy just monologuing for about like the fucking like goddamn commissioner. I don't even know who the commissioner is. But anyways, we touched upon this recently, but I wanted to go back to this a little bit. The Wendy Peffercorn scene, about how funny that was, just like kids being kids in a way that like Yeah, maybe the scene doesn't age the best, but it's still just like in a way just kind of funny, just because it would be a stupid thing that kid would do to try and get a girl's
Oh yeah,
attention.
and especially like the hot lifeguard at the pool. I
Mm.
feel like everybody
Played,
had that crush at the
yeah.
pool or something like that, and Squints had the balls to do it. Well, I think it's interesting because in the movie, the narrator of Smalls, like the older voice of him,
Mm.
says it was wrong, it was dirty, it was scoundrel, and then he was like, but he kissed her, and he kissed her good. I'm like, I would not call that a good kiss, but they ended up together and they had 9 children. So
Something, yeah, with
shoot or
that.
shoot, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So what's really funny was researching about this movie, about that specific scene. The actor who played Squints, Chauncey Leopardi. The only other thing I've seen him in before this was Freaks and Geeks. He played the main bully in that show. But anyways, he was so anxious about the kissing scene that he kept on asking the director. So like, oh, are we shooting the kissing scene today? Or are we shooting the kissing scene? Like, come on, like, I want to get this.
Well, it's good to know that he wasn't really acting in that scene. He was definitely trying to get away with. Can we just do another take? I didn't feel right about that one.
Yeah, he was given specific instructions by the director that was like, all right, don't fucking give her any tongue. Just like keep your tongue in your goddamn mouth.
Imagine saying that to a 10-year-old, like, keep your tongue in your fucking mouth, you little sprat.
Yeah. Exactly. Like Mary Shelton, like she does not need your tongue in her mouth. Come on,
This is already bordering on weird. I wonder if they had to have somebody like on the set to monitor that situation.
I think so. Like any like in Superbad, McLovin was 17 at the time. So when they did that sex scene, McLovin's mom had to be on set to watch him because like he was still a minor.
That's
so his mom had.
That's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Oh, I did not know that.
Which that adds another uncomfortable, awkward layer to Superbad, a movie that already is uncomfortable and awkward, but in the best way possible.
I don't really think of Superbad as like awkward and uncomfortable.
Well, I'd say a lot of it's just like the characters being awkward in that movie.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like,
it's Michael Cera, so
yeah.
But we are not talking about Superbad because we could just
because we've both seen it a lot of times. Yeah.
This is, I think, the best place to kind of start is just the story of a kid, like at the beginning, right? The story of a kid who just doesn't have friends, doesn't know how to make friends, is a nerd. I like the little setups. Like I think the screenplay is like for what this movie is. It's not some high work of art or anything, but it's tight, it's cohesive. It doesn't make you scratch your head. Like all the motivations of the characters make sense. Everything about it makes sense. And I feel like a lot of times in kids movies, it's not like that, especially when the kids are acting. Like I've never seen the Sandlot 2 or the Sandlot 3. I've heard nothing but these might be the worst movies ever made.
I've actually seen the Sandlot 2. I don't know if all of it, but I've seen at least like a decent portion of it.
Well, I guess if you didn't finish it, that kind of says it all, huh?
Well, apparently I didn't realize this. So the director, David Mickey Evans, he directed the Sandlot 2 and he directed the Sandlot 3. So both of those are directed DVD trash. So it was very clear that at that point in his career, he was just digging up the fucking grave and being like, okay, what can I like make left of my career?
What can I get cash for? Yeah, because like this. Well, I think it's interesting when you're working with kids, right? Like I've read the line that like a movie will always make itself, like a great director can stand beside it. I think you have to be good with children in a movie like this to get it to work. I feel like when I mean, I know we talk about it a lot, but like Star Wars, like the Phantom Menace, the kid's terrible, and it's because George Lucas can't work with actors, and then you have to make him work with a kid because he's the most awkward human being alive. And it's
George Lucas.
It's horrendous.
I was telling my friend last night.
Horrendous dialogue, like that movie.
Yeah, it's like I was telling my friend last night. I was like, George Lucas is a great idea, man, but the second you tell him to tell people emotions or like aka like direct a movie, it's awful.
It's faster and more intense. That's his one line. What stood out to you outside of the Wendy Peffercorn scene? Like what was big to you? Because I'm more interested in what you have to say than me just gushing over this movie, kind of just nailing childhood.
Talking about everything. Yeah. Well, I like I said, I liked a lot of the hangout vibe of the movie where I liked the first half where pretty much nothing was happening. There wasn't really any plot. and it was just the kids talking and like like playing baseball and just being friends and getting the hijinks like going on the carnival thing. I think that this movie very much was great at like just showing the bond of friendship between these kids. You really felt that the kids were friends, and it's because the set was like that. These all the actors said that this was like one of the best summers of their lives of all the kid actors, and because they just got to be kids and just hang out, and like it really reminded me of being like a little kid, like hanging out and like going around my bicycle like with my friends and just getting the shenanigans.
I think one of the things I like about it is that they get mean in this movie. They get really mean in this movie, and I think there's one king of mean in this movie, and his name's Ham Porter.
We plan a real diamond, Porter. You ain't good enough to lick the dirt off our cleats. Watch it, jerk. Shut up, idiot. Moron. Scab eater. Butt sniffer. Pus licker. Fart smeller. You eat dog crap for breakfast, geek. You mix your weenies with your mama's toe jam. Yeah! You bob for apples in the toilet, and you like it. You play ball like a girl. What did you say? You heard me. Tomorrow, noon, at our field. Get the buffalo butt breath. Count on it, pee-drinking crap face. Yeah!
Man, what a just a reception of lines. Like, you play ball like a girl. I heard that growing up through Little League from adults. Like, that line is just iconic.
Yeah. People don't forget that one line. I mean, this is one of those movies that like I've seen bits and pieces before, but never in one sitting. Wendy Peffercorn was one of the scenes I remember, and I also remember this scene of the kids just hurling insults at each other. So it's really memorable, like the stupid shit that kids will say to each other, like, "Oh, you're so fucking lame," or like you're such a loser," or something like that. Just it captured that like 12 to 13-year-old mindset.
Yeah. Well, so I think one of the things I definitely noticed that is like, oh, they just got this completely wrong, and not in a bad way, not in like, oh, this ruins the movie, but just factually they got this, like, they just ignored it. Where at the end, and they finally meet James Earl Jones, Mr. Myrtle, who had been mythologized among these children. Like, he was like the god of death essentially in this town. And it turns out he was an old ball player that went blind and just had a big old dog named Hercules in the backyard. But there's a picture where they Photoshop James Earl Jones, or someone who looks like James Earl Jones, next to Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. And that's actually a very famous picture. It's actually a baseball player named Jimmy Fox, who Tom Hanks portrays a variation of Jimmy Fox in A League of Their Own. That's who that person is in the picture. Listen,
another movie I didn't see until recently.
Listen, the color barrier was not broke for like another decade and a half from when that picture would have been taken. Like, listen, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to nitpick. It's just like from a historical standpoint, and when you think about just like that landmark is in every history book in the United States.
Well, there's some things I have to wonder about this movie. So if I remember correctly, so in the beginning of the movie, Smalls actually like really likes baseball, even though he doesn't know how to play it.
Babe Ruth, who Babe Ruth is.
No, well, that's what I was getting to. Is like, so like, how does this kid like not know who the fuck Babe Ruth is? That was like, if I was a kid obsessed with basketball in the 90s. Well, I mean, maybe not the 90s, but still, if I didn't know who Michael Jordan was, and like basketball is my favorite sport, I'd be like, what?
and also at that, like, kids today know who Babe Ruth. There's probably more kids that know Babe Ruth than they do actual current baseball players, because MLB does not know how to market their sport. Like, they literally just don't.
What I'm trying to think, like, I don't even know if I can name a current baseball player right now.
Tom.
Aaron Judge. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Matt Harvey, is he still in the league?
No. You don't know.
Oh, he's already out?
Yeah, you don't know who the best pitcher in baseball is? He plays for my favorite team, Tommy.
I thought it was Matt Harvey.
Matt Harvey. No, it's Jacob DeGrom is who I'm referring to. I had to just give a shout out to my boy.
I have never heard that name before until right now.
Well,
so this is our little bubbles. I mean, I could name off some Knicks players right now, and you'd be like, "Who the fuck are they?"
I keep up enough with sports to at least be like, "Oh, that's a Nick." Like, if you're gonna just toss like an Evan Fournier reference over to me, I'd know who that is.
Okay, because baseball is like never on Twitter. It's never on social media. There's never like funny fucking memes about the goddamn baseball that I see at least, and like it's just. For some reason, I guess for our generation, not as much in the culture as it used to be.
It's definitely that you're right. It's not in the culture. It's not in the cult. Like, I kind of liked in this movie that everybody just had a baseball room in their house. Like, we see three people's house in the movie. We see Smalls' house, and his dad's office is just a shrine to baseball. Then Benny's room, where Babe Ruth walks in the closet. That's the only time we see that room. He's just got a pennant flag flying of every team, which I guess makes sense for a kids baseball thing. And then when you see Mr. Myrtle, he's got a full shrine to baseball. I mean, granted, he knew all these people, he has these signed baseballs and things like that. Makes sense, but it's just like everybody in this room just had a shrine for baseball. This
is a movie where like literally everyone knows about baseball. Everyone kind of just like was obsessed with baseball. And I kind of have to wonder, because like pop culture makes us seem like that back then, like everyone was obsessed with baseball. And I think that was the case.
I would definitely say in like a white neighborhood for sure.
Yeah, very suburban.
I went to a talk with Bobby Valentine, who is a former Mets manager, and he was talking about Negro League integration and how one of the reasons why they really don't reach like an African American audience today is that when the color barrier was broken, they didn't bring like the Kansas City Monarchs, who are the biggest Negro League team at the time. Like, they didn't include them into the league. It was just like, we're going to take the top black players and your league can fold and crumble. But it was massive in those communities, and that's the disconnect. I mean, this is not what this podcast is about, obviously, but I find it all kind of interesting because it's all in this movie a little bit.
Yeah, no, to an extent. It is one of those things that like I felt like, my grandpa, he was obsessed with baseball, but I don't really, other than like you and like maybe a couple other of my friends, I don't know that many people that are obsessed with baseball or like love baseball or talk about baseball and like a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I went to a Yankees game last year. I think baseball is really fun in person, but I don't know, something about TV for me. Maybe my attention span's not there.
Let's not talk about the state of baseball.
Yeah, so this is not the podcast about that.
How many baseball movies have you seen, Tommy? Like, which ones have you seen? Like, just offhand, obviously not all of them, but like whichever ones you can remember. Like, did you ever see like Angels in the Outfield as a kid? Rookie of the Year?
I feel like I might have seen that, but I feel like that I might have seen like parts of it because they played that like during like the assembly times in elementary school a lot. I've seen League of Their Own, but that was only like 6 months ago.
That's such a good movie.
League of Their Own is a great movie. And I don't know why I never
such
seen
a good movie.
I'm gonna Google baseball movies. I've never seen.
Like, did you ever see Field of Dreams? Bull Durham, For the Love of the Game, Major League.
Yeah, I've seen Major League. I've seen the Benchwarmers.
No, let's not include that in this list.
That counts as they played baseball. That counts as a baseball movie.
I mean, I guess just to add on to that point, and the point I'm trying to get to is why are so many acclaimed movies? Like, what is it about baseball that just creates such a unique setting? And it's probably the only sport team sport I can think of that really translates the best to the big screen. Like, I feel like
I've seen The Rookie. I remember The Rookie, the one.
Yeah, that one's okay. With the kid.
Sorry, I'm googling like baseball movies right now.
The kid from 2.5 Men's in that.
Yeah, I do want to shout out our director David Mickey Evans, who also directed the baseball movie Ed, which is
sounds so familiar.
It's with Matt LeBlanc from Friends, Joey, and it's with a chimp. And I think it's like the chimp
I
plays baseball
remember.
or some
I don't think
shit.
I ever saw this movie, but I remember that VHS haunting the shelves of Blockbuster as a kid, being like, "I don't want to.
You saw that a lot.
I don't want to see a monkey playing baseball. Silly."
The movie got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was nominated for Razzie Awards for Worst Picture, Worst Screenplay, which was made by the director of The Sandlot, Worst Screen Couple, LeBlanc and the Chimpanzee. And they lost all those to Striptease with Demi Moore.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So, but basically, that's just like one of those things. Just to touch upon Dave Mickey Evans' career after Sandlot. This movie is, I think, was good, but he did Ed, and then he did First Kid, which is Sinbad, like guarding like the president's kid or something like that. Two terrible movies, and the guy's career just pretty much never recovered. I mean, all he's done since is he did Beethoven Third, Beethoven the Fourth. There's like 7 or 8 Beethoven movies, I think. Some no-name National Lampoon movie that you never heard of. The Sandlot 2, Ace Ventura Jr., Pet Detective. I don't know. I feel bad because I think this guy like had something with The Sandlot. Maybe this is just a passion project for him. But since then, his career just kind of just like movies that you never want to see in your life. Probably.
Yeah, I just it's interesting because a lot of there's a lot of crossover between this movie and the Mighty Ducks. A couple of the kids were in both of those movies. I know the guy Patrick Renna, who plays Ham Porter. He was also in a movie called The Big Green, which was like a kid's soccer movie.
Oh yeah, he was the goalie.
Yeah, he's
right?
like on the cut. He's
I
like on the
movie.
cover of it too.
Yeah. He was also in an episode of The X-Files. That was really good.
But I think it's interesting that like when you think like the adults in this movie, you have James Earl Jones, you have Dennis Leary, and you have Karen Allen. Like those are the main 3.
Second Karen Allen movie,
and even Wendy Peffercorn. Like
Scream.
she's had a fairly successful career too. What's her name again?
Mary Shelton. She was just in the new Scream as the sheriff in the new Scream.
Yeah.
So check out our old episode on that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that like the 3 or 4 like adult, grown-up actors are like very like they got really respectable and reputable actors or people that were going that way. Like a Dennis Leary, I don't think was really a star at this point.
I was gonna say like this was kind of like a really like thankless role for Dennis Leary. He wasn't really given much to do. I mean, he's known as a comedian, but he doesn't do really anything. He's just there's like the kind of stern dad that doesn't give a lot of love.
Yeah, well, I think he kind of nailed it. To be honest, like he kind of does have that face about him of being kind of a dick. Like I just see Dennis Leary, and I'm just
he played the role well, but I just felt like it was an underwritten role for him.
I mean,
but he's not the focus of this.
It's about the kids. I mean, all the adults are underwritten, and that's fine because it's like they're kind of like Charlie Brown adults, just.
Karen Allen gets like one scene where she pretty much tells her kid, like, stop being a fucking nerd and get some goddamn friends.
I just think it's interesting that all the kids, like some of them are still acting. I know Patrick Renna is still acting. The kid who Chauncey Leopardi, he's still acting, but a lot of them they did like the Mighty Ducks. They all seem to be somewhat in entertainment, but none of them have really an acting career anymore from what I was looking at online, like just going through their IMDb careers. I just think it's interesting that there wasn't like a takeaway kid, and maybe I think that's why part of this movie is timeless, is that it's not like a young Leo DiCaprio's in this movie where it would just
there's no like standout star where like outside maybe like a couple other 90s movies. Have you seen any of these kids really in anything before? I mean,
and you probably outside of Patrick Renna, just because his hair and his face and like his freckles are just so distinctive. He has the most distinctive facial qualities out of all of these kids. They kind of, like them grown up, you're probably not going to really recognize them. Like if you look at a picture of Chauncey Leopardi, he's just fully tatted, like head to toe. He does not look. He does not look like the kid. He does not look like the kid that married Wendy Peffercorn
at all. No, it's funny because like when I was researching this movie, there's an article I found that was like 30 things you didn't know about the Sandlot, something like that, and they mentioned about Scotty Smalls, about how he still gets recognized to this day, and people call him out and like say like, oh, like you're killing it, Smalls, where the fuck that line is.
You're killing me, Smalls. It's when they're talking about
you're killing me, Smalls.
Can I get some more?
Yeah.
Like I found that joke to be pretty, pretty pleasant.
Yeah, but anyways, so it's just like they keep on recognizing him and saying that. It's like, how do you recognize this kid like 30 years later? And you probably looks nothing.
I'm
like
looking at a picture of him. He looks fairly similar to Small, but I don't know where I think I read he lives in New Jersey. So I feel like if you found out that the guy from the Sandlot, because it's one of those movies that kids just see. It's on MLB Network pretty much daily. It's always on TV.
If you're a baseball kid, this is one of their like foundational movies.
Even if you're into sports and not even baseball as a kid, I think this movie's getting thrown on the TV at some point, because it's just there's just a real charm to this movie that I think like kind of makes it timeless. Like there's just something. It's maybe a part of like I think the song selection in it is very good. Like the key riff that's kind of the theme. I can't remember what it's called, but like the down 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 down.
Very era, like
but something about it just gives like the movie a little bounce, and it gives the movie a life to it. Like they do in the jungle. Tequila's was one of the songs. I think that's This Magic Moment after he kisses Wendy Peffercorn. Like it just takes all these like very simple classic 60s songs and repurposes them, like the kind of stuff that you'll hear at a wedding and things like that. Just songs that people know. I just think when you combine a movie that nails the childhood experience and makes you want to be a part of their friend group, like that's one of the strengths too. Like you want to go out and play ball with them.
That's the best thing you could say about like a hangout movie or a coming of age movie, is that you want to be friends with these people.
Yeah, you want to be a part of that group, you want to be a part of that experience. And I think the scaled down and realistic plot of this, like I think a kid trying to do something good to connect further with people, and doing so doesn't realize the value they're taking from their parents when they grab something. I think that's really relatable to kids. And I think those are like the key components as to why this movie still holds up. I think the humor is still there too. I think it's cute, clever.
It's still, a lot of the jokes still, and like a lot of the big like setups or pranks like still work, and still just it like I said, we said this a lot, timeless, where it just feels like, yeah, you could easily see someone doing this today, and it doesn't really feel dated in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, I would say that's for sure. It's not like, imagine if they set this in the 90s and they were just making like 90s references. I just saw a movie called The Lost City that just came out, and I was actually looking forward to it because it's that kind of Drek that I enjoy sometimes. But like the characters just keep referencing things that that like they just like Ubers and just like very contemporary references, and like they don't stop talking, and it's just like you're not likable. Like just let it breathe, like this doesn't have that issue. This I feel like a lot of movies, and I feel like a lot of kids movies love to make references of the time, because kids are, they're making the movie not for timeless, they're making the movie to make money now, and they don't really care about the legacy of it, because a lot of kids movies are just cheap cash grabs.
Ones that like pretty much are just going to go in and out of the consciousness and like not really think about it. So I mean, this movie, while it takes place in the 60s, other than the music, there's not really a bunch of like pop culture standpoints to it. If anything, the biggest fucking pop culture reference is Babe Ruth, and he died about 20 years before the movie took place.
Yeah, something like, he died in, what did he die in? I think he died in 45.
Like 48?
Maybe 48. It was sometime in the 40s. But Babe Ruth is a part of like American folklore at this point. Babe Ruth is not some random ass baseball player from like the 40s that nobody's heard of before.
He's literally like one of the most famous people in the last.
I think years. Before Adolf Hitler, he was the most photographed man in the world before his rise to power. Dead serious. In the 20s and the 30s,
that makes sense.
Like any event, he was just taking pictures. There's a million photos of Babe Ruth.
You gotta wonder who like the world record holder of that is now, because like nowadays it's just like everyone gets photographed. Would it be like Tom Cruise or some shit maybe?
No, it's not a celebrity. It would be somebody who takes a ton of pictures of themselves. But that's not really important now, is it, Tommy? But
Maybe a little bit.
Let's ask an important question here.
I am a star. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. I am a big, bright, shining star.
So, Tommy, who do you think like stole the movie, like acting wise? It's a tricky question. It's definitely tricky with good actors, but there is a correct answer.
I think that honestly, who stole the movie or like who like won the movie? Fucking, I'm looking at him right now. Art LaFleur as fucking Babe Ruth. I mean, like the guy was in one scene, and it was probably one of the most iconic scenes in the whole movie, and just pretty much just like set the tone and set the message of the movie. And there's that one line that we played like at the beginning of the movie, like where we or Timmy imitated at the beginning of the podcast, and just as Babe Ruth, just very iconic. The runner-up would probably be either Hamilton or Squints. I'm tied between the two.
I think Squints is more for the moment because it's the biggest moment and the most iconic moment in the movie, but it's Ham Porter. I don't even think it's close. Art LaFleur is in this movie for 30 seconds, so I just cannot give it to him. I think
if you're going by screen time, then yeah, I'm gonna go.
I think Patrick Renna really captures, like, everybody kind of knows that kid he's pudgy, like he's not really fat, and I don't really, unless a kid is like genuinely obese, I don't like sitting here being like, oh, he's fat. It's just like, I don't know, he's a little chunky boy, but he tries to cover that up with strength and power, like when he clobbers one of the balls when they first introduce Hercules.
And he's a trash
mouth.
And
he's a trash mouth. Like that one clip, oh my god, man, like those insults. You play ball like a girl. Like, what a line delivery. I just think that and
apparently a lot of that was improv.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that even more.
Yeah.
I think character wise, I really appreciate Benny the Jets Rodriguez being the good kid he is, just caring about other people. I feel
he was good, but his character was kind of bland. I mean, like, other than like interesting.
I think in a lot of these kind of movies, you don't get a stronger silent type that cares about other people and wants to include other people. And I think that's a really good message in a kid's movie, and it's very well done. It's not in your face about it. It's just a mechanism to continue the story along. It's not in your face. It's not, you don't have Karen Allen being like, oh, that Benny the Jets Rodriguez, he's such a nice kid. I can't believe if everybody else's kids are like that, this world, there's none of that. It's just that one simple moment that I just think speaks to the nature of the character. And I think it just, maybe as an adult looking back on it, it's not the most prolific, it's not the most entertaining, but I just think as an adult it's really nice to see. When I think of a lot of kids movies, I feel like that character is missing, or when they try to have that character, they like gush it up. They're like, look at how good he is. Drive the message home. But I think sometimes just an under the radar messaging can really go a long way.
Are you ready, comedy partner?
Does this movie work as a Muppet adaptation?
No, I don't know. I mean, I could see a version of it with Muppets, but I mean, like, it would be a different movie. I mean, this movie's very set in reality. It doesn't really like get too zany other than the whole dog scenes.
Yeah,
but there's the dog is played by a puppet. Actually,
when it's jumping, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when it's jumping, and there's some points where it's like you see its hand. And its hand is very clearly a puppet.
Yeah, that's fine. I also want to say I liked the scenes where they're trying to get the ball back, and like how many different ways they try to get it. And like, as I said, like they do a nice thing. Like they set up that Smalls is he's kind of a nerd, and like he likes to build these science things. So when he's building these gizmos and gadgets, like, all right, maybe it's a little unrealistic, but at least they showed that he could do that. Like that he is technically
he was like a whiz kid and like
a straight A student.
It is funny because I'm looking at the poster right now, and I mentioned this earlier. They really, really sell the dog as a part of this movie. And like, I mean, he is a driving force, I guess, in the last act, but they're making it almost look like it's like a Air Bud movie, because the tagline of the movie is it's 3 kids holding a baseball bat, and then a dog is holding the last part of the baseball bat at the end. And they're saying
that's not the poster I think of. I don't know if that was what was the theatrical release of it, but I will
That's at least the poster on IMDb and Wikipedia when you pull up the movie. But to finish, the tagline is they're more than a team. They're the best buddies in the entire world. And it really makes you seem like you're getting into an Airbud situation where the dog's going to play baseball with the kids. It's like, what?
I think he's a big part of it because he's just like the legend of the town. Like I feel like all kids kind of have legends in their town, like mythos.
They build him up as like he's Cujo.
Yeah, no, seriously, like it's a monster movie. Like they even when Benny gets the ball and they have the chase scene, which is just hilariously delightful. I loved that the second I saw that cake on the screen, I was like, you know that thing is going up in the air. There's not a shot that it's not landing on these two guys.
That cake is
cake is followed, and I love that it was there like that. It's just these nice little simple things that make you think of maybe a simpler time. I'm
seeing the other posters now where it's just like actually like the kids.
Yeah, that was the VHS cover. That's the one that I will always associate. It's like embezzled in my brain. Like Benny the Jets Rodriguez is front and center, and they're kind of like hoisting him up, and everybody else is kind of around him and like hands in the air and stuff like that. And then like the Sandlot.
That's
and
gonna be the one for the Photoshop.
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, what are we gonna Photoshop our arms in on the bat?
I'll pretend I'm like the dog's arm or some shit.
Just like a hastily photoshopped, like with little edges on the side of just Tommy's arm. Like you can still see the dog arm, like part of it underneath it. Yeah, I don't think that would play as well. But I like that's what I don't know if that might have been the theatrical release, which is a miss in my opinion. But I get not wanting to put kids on a post like a theatrical poster. It is.
I mean, that happens.
It happens, but I could see a studio being like, because here's the thing with kids movies.
Well, who are they trying to sell the Sandlot to, except for kids?
To the parents to take their kids to go see it.
Well,
I have come to the revelation that as a child, all the things your parents make you do is just to tire you out so you'll go to sleep. And a movie is where they take you so that they could just sit down in silence for 90 minutes. That's what a movie is as a kid, that as an adult. So, I mean, you do have to target both of them. Like my mom wouldn't take me, I can't remember specific ones, but if a movie seemed too obnoxious, she would not take me to go see it.
Oh, my parents didn't care. My dad would take me to go see like Black Hawk Down with him.
It's not in an R-rated household, that's for sure.
No, my dad literally would drive me to go see that, or like Troy was an R-rated.
Yeah, but
one.
you were the third born at that point. I was just like, it is what.
When you're the youngest, your parents kind of think like, okay, whatever. Like we know R-rated movies aren't going to hurt the kid. Like fuck it.
Or I was the oldest, so I had the.
You're the trial run where you're like, oh fuck.
Exactly, I was the trial run, so it was always nice.
We can't let him watch any R-rated movies. He can't play M-rated games at all. He has to be very careful.
Pretty much, but let's go into review time now. Tommy, I have to be careful with you because I was talking to my mom about this recording, and she said that if you don't like this movie, I have to get a new podcast partner for this movie because my mom loves this. My mom absolutely adores this movie. She thinks it's wonderful. So with that in mind,
you're no pressure. This might be some extortion right here. So I like this movie. So don't worry, Timmy's mom, Mrs. Sestino. So this movie is good and it's really fun and charming. I don't think it's that much more than your typical coming of age story, though. Like I said before, it kind of hits a lot of the familiar beats that you've seen before, but they play those beats well, and those beats work for a reason. So it's very charming. You want to hang out with these kids, and it really shows the power of friendship, especially when like you're a little kid and you're starting to get to know yourself and who you want to be in the world. So I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it. I didn't think it was the best thing I've seen in the world, but it was very charming. I could see myself watching it again because it's a fun summer movie.
If you have a kid, would you show this movie to him when he's like 5 or 6, or her? Yeah, sure. Exactly. That's all that needed to be answered. I think I echo the sentiments. I just think it does it so well, and I think the scale of the story being so small, like you don't really get just like a kid hangout movie like that doesn't happen because it's hard to make kids likable that long without a plot really driving them forward or having an adult there to kind of like carry some of the weight.
Yeah, like Bad News Bears, how it's Walter Matthau really carrying the movie.
Yeah, not even just baseball. I'm just thinking like kids movies in general. It's either like the Goonies where they're going on some crazy adventure, or there's an adult that's working. Like, are we there yet? You have Ice Cube, and then you have your kids, right? Like that's a very generic staple formula. So like, it plays the beats well. I just think that's the unique part of it. The adults are Charlie Brown in this movie. Essentially, they're not important, and I love that about this movie. I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5. It's in my heart. I've seen it 100 times. I just think this movie, in 50 years, people will still be talking about this movie, or at the 50-year mark at least.
I think that like it depends on like a certain like nostalgia there is for. Would this fit more into the 90s nostalgia or the 60s nostalgia?
I just think it's timeless, to be honest. I didn't even know that it was 1962 until I saw the cake that said 1962 on it at the end of the movie. The year's irrelevant. I just think
that's true.
They don't explicitly state the year.
I can see this being.
They don't explicitly like really state the year for a reason. I just think part of it is like, this is a simpler time, and this is friends. This is what friends do over the summer. And outside of a baseball signed by Babe Ruth being used and chasing a dog, pretty much everything else about this movie is real. And even that part of like the only plot point in the movie is tangible. It is within the realm of possibility, and it's a lesson that kids can resonate with, even though they might not be able to explain it to an adult why they felt this way, why they did something.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like the whole movie is a sports movie. Yeah, I mean it's about baseball, but it's not like the movie's climax is they get like your typical sports movie where it's like what's it called? Like, oh, there's a big game at the end of it that they have to win.
Yeah, and that is true. That does break that trope. I didn't even think of it like that, but that is the trope of pretty much every sports movie, is that there's the big game and the big moment where everything is.
They're the underdogs, and like they're gonna get their ass kicked in the first half, but in the second half they're gonna come back and they're gonna really show it to them and stuff.
I can't wait until we do Miracle on this podcast, because I know there's no shot you've seen that movie.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well,
so if Looney Tunes weren't involved in your sports movie, I probably didn't see it when I was a kid.
But
you need the Looney Tunes. That's why we should have had Skate Jam.
No, that would be horrible. Anyway, that just sounds like a bad T-shirt that you would see somebody wearing, like an X.
That was actually a thing.
Oh, I know. I'm sure it was. I'm just picturing somebody at a bowling alley wearing like an XXL shirt when they don't need an XXL shirt, and it's just like this. Like it looks like it's spray painted on the shirt, and it's just like Taz on a skateboard,
like skateboard,
and just like,
well, yeah. I would have seen it. It would have been Tony Hawk and fucking Looney Tunes.
Actually, I'm kind of here for that, to be honest. They could make it now.
Yeah, they could make it now. The new Tony Hawk game just came out, and it's still great.
Did it? I don't know, but
it was fun. It was whatever. Anyways, Skate Jam. Remember that, and also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Seen It Pod, and leave us a 5-star review. It helps the pod. So thanks, guys.
All right, awesome. All right. Thank you all so much for listening again. We're going to see you back here next time, and we're going to dive into a deep, deep classic. We're covering The Godfather next week.
Never seen it.
And you started a movie podcast. God damn it, Tommy. Anyway, have a good day. We'll see you next time.